this is the engine bay of a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner, a real RM23 car. This car started life as a Roadrunner, and that's what it is right now, too. It hasn't changed face. Does have the VIN plate on the dashboard, undisrupted. It has the, Devin will show you pictures of all this, the fender tag, original fender tag, and it also still has the original serial number on the radiator core support, which indicates this car's never been in any accidents, never suffered any trauma whatsoever. The engine is an HP 440 motor in this particular car. No, it is not a V-code car, but this particular car is a 440. Has a set of long tube, I'm going to call them 1.7/8" diameter headers on it, hooker headers. It has, for 1970, the cast iron intake manifold with a trio of Hawley carburetors, just the way a six-pack car would have come. This particular car has a billet aftermarket distributor in it. I'm not sure whose manufacturer it is. It kind of looks like a Presterlight. If it is, it's been remachined somehow. It has a set of high silicone plug wires on it, a new cap. The heater hoses are still hooked up to the passenger compartment and functional just the way they should be. New alternator, original beep beep Roadrunner horn, still intact. Donnie has new belts on it. He always puts new belts on everything. Clutch fan just the way it would have come from a factory. Nice stiff clutch on it yet, the way it should be. Original fan shroud for the 26-inch high volume, high flow radiator that Chrysler put on these vehicles. Newer battery, overflow tank. Does have power steering. It does not have power brakes on it. 3-speed wiper motor. The engine has no leaks whatsoever evident on top. It has the original equipment painted, the valve pan covers on it, with the correct style air cleaner, a little thicker filter than they usually come with, but it's original type air cleaner for a six-pack car. This car has just absolutely no disruption whatsoever in the engine compartment. It's a really good representation of a six-pack 1970 Roadrunner. And there's no leaks evident on the motor. Everything appears to be fresh. You can see the engine's been completely out and completely rebuilt on this vehicle. Again, this car started life, that motor anyway, started life as a 440. Cubic inch-wise, we're going to start not being so specific because there's so many stroker kits out now that we know it started life as a 440. We have no idea what it is now. It could be clean up to 517 cubic inches. It sure runs like one. It's a strong running car, great engine compartment, no leaks, great sounding car. We're going to go around the rest of it and show you what we can. Okay, this is an overview of a 1970 Plymouth RM real Roadrunner. That's the way this guy started life. It's a six-pack car at this point in time. We don't know if its number's matching yet. We'll determine that later, and Donnie will have it on a spec sheet. All the specs with the engine, transmission, rear end, everything. Gaps from the fender to the hood, you can see, clean up to the cowl area, just as sweet as you'd ever want to find anywhere. Both sides, nice fitment of this vehicle. The paint on it is much better than a driver quality car. It's been cleared over, so whenever you run your hands over it, you can see the stripe, but you can't feel them. So it does have a nice application of clear on top of it. The front of the car, the trim pieces that go around the grille that circumnavigate that grille, which by the way is still in excellent condition. The plastic's not broken anywhere. Both headlight bezels the same way. They're in excellent condition. Bumper fitment on the front is just as sweet as you'd hope to find. Also look at the bumperettes on it. That was an option. They did not come with these rubber bumper guards on it. That was an option to buy on the car. Front valance, or bottom of the bumper I should say, and the parking lights that are crystal clear. Chrome on the front of the bumper is really nice. There's no marks whatsoever on the top of the bumper where people would normally put their feet or package or whatever they're trying to hold at the time. Front of this car is really exemplary. It's a very, very nice fit, nice finished car. Going down the side of it, again, look at the fit. Look at this. Door gap, header panel, everything on this thing is just as nice. One thing you can't help but notice is it has an absolute brand new set of Magnum 500s on it, or as Plymouth called them, road wheels. but Kelsey Hayes made them, and it has a new set of tires on it, front and back. The dash is nice and clear where it transitions onto the base of the windshield. And again, you can see the VIN plate is nice and intact. Wiper arms are correct. The blades are incorrect. They're an aftermarket, look like a Trico or something blade. Roof's nice. The trim around the front of the window is nice. Tinted glass in the front, and I can't tell you for sure if it's tinted on the side or not. I'm not going to say tinted on the side. The chrome on this wing area, which is usually deteriorated, is not on this vehicle. It is spot on. Wipes, whiskers, just as nice as you'd ever hope to find on them. They've been replaced, and nice fitment of them too. There's no overhang whatsoever on them. Remote control mirror, there's no patina on it, no patina on the door handle. Again, check this gap out, huh? That's as nice and sweet as you'd hope to find on anything. And look at this. It's even got the original door tag on it yet, which houses the VIN. So you got a VIN on the dash, VIN on the plate, and a VIN on the radiator core support. This thing's kind of documented everywhere as to what it is. Interior is really outstanding on it. If you noticed, big plus, it's a 3-pedal car. It has a 4-speed in it. The gauges are nice and clean and clear. Believe it or not, I can't even see it from here. The clock is working in this thing. You believe that? The clock is even working. Beep, beep horn, which doesn't work. Buckets, obviously, it has the optional bucket seat interior. Does not have a console. A lot of guys bought them. A lot of guys didn't like them. So, at this point, it does not have one. Could be added at a later date if you so chose. The inside of this car, the door panels, everything are nice and fresh looking and nice and clean. Nice padding in the seats. There's no crap in the front of the hinge area, where the door houses onto the front of the vehicle. Nice car. Going down the side of it, the same as it was in the front. Look at the paint on this thing. The paint is just exemplary. The hatch shelf appears to be original. There's no deterioration on it. It still has the original perforations for the speaker additions, if there are speakers in it. Quarter panels on the car are straight as can be. Everything lines up. Looking down the side of it, just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Those magnums really jump out at you. I can't help but looking down the side of this car, that's what jumps out and just shows itself off. They're wider in the back than they are in the front. I'm going to say they're 8s in the back, 7s in the front. Some huge rubber in the back of this thing because it definitely needs it. Trunk area, you can see the same way. Look at the fit. The gap on this thing is just spot on. Got our little Roadrunner there with his helmet ready to do some duty. This is a reflective stripe on the back, by the way. The rear panel of the car is painted the same color as the car. The backup lights are just as nice and clean down in the bumper. And the tail lights, you can see the plastic on them is also nice and clean and clear. Again, the front and bumper was flawless, and so is the rear. Look at this. There's absolutely no scuff marks whatsoever on it. None. Okay, you open the trunk. There's an original equipment style spare tire in it. It does have the jack and the associated equipment. Check this out too. Original sound deadener in the quarter panels, which indicates that the car hasn't had any quarter panel replacement. And let's see if we have a 5th number here. And we do. There's a number in the top of the quarter panel on the driver's side, just the way it should be. So this car does house its original equipment quarter panels. So apparently none of the metal's been replaced in it. It almost appears to be the original. It's kind of worn with age. Jacking instructions also, and there's no deterioration at all in this car. Just a really nice, straight-looking car. Really nice car. Okay, passenger side. I have a feeling it's going to be the same as the driver's side. It looks just as sweet and straight down the sides. Trim around the back windows, the same as it was on the front. I forgot to mention on the other side, the drip rail. Really nice. And window fitment on the other side is the same as on this side. Of course, our wife's whiskers, but look at the fitment of this. There's absolutely no way that there's going to be any leakage whatsoever. Again, look at the interior of this car. It's really amazing. It's the first opportunity I had a chance to really take a look at the car. I did drive it just briefly to take it and get it cleaned up, buffed out. But the car is just a rocket, which you'll see here shortly. Doors closed, everything lines up just like it should. You can see the gap there. See the gaps in the front here. Same on this side as they were on the other side. Original equipment single mast antenna with the correct base on it. And again, look at the fitment of this guy, huh? There it is. We just went over the whole car. You just watched me do it. It's better than a driver quality car. The paint at this point in time and the fit and finish, everything on this car is better than it ever was in 1970 when this was released to the public by Chrysler Corporation. So the car at this point is better than it was when it was new. Everything's been addressed mechanically on the car. It's a fun car to drive, which you'll see here shortly. It's a real RM Roadrunner for 1970. 1 year only body style. 71 they switched to the new style, and 69 back. 69 and 68 were their own style. Kind of a rare car to be a collector for a Mopar. You know, it's one of the years that everybody looks for is a 70. They like the cowl induction type design hood on it, 446 designation on it. The car is just a great car. It's available here at Hankster's in Daytona Beach, Florida, and definitely requires a little bit of your attention to take a look at the pictures that Devin has up for you in this video. It'll give you a little bit of insight as to what you're buying with this vehicle, which is what we're trying to do with this presentation. Okay, this is the undercarriage of our 1970 B5 Blue Plymouth Roadrunner. We're going to do a quick overview of it and show you everything we can in the shortest period of time that we can here. It does have the original Chrysler style sway bar on it, new bushings in the front of it. A couple dents in the oil pan here, but there are no leaks whatsoever on the engine, bell housing, or the transmission area that I can see. It has drum brakes in the front, heavy-duty Mopar drums, which are just as good as the discs at that point in time. Guess what? It's going to need two tie rod end. Yep, it's going to need new tie rod ends. The tie rod end rubbers have broken off and they're just kind of hanging there, so we're going to have to put two new tie rod ends for you. Just wanted to point that out in case you do see it in the video. The subframes in the front, there's no real distortion to them whatsoever. There is a jack mark on the fender well skirting in the left front here. Someone has put a jack stand there through the years. Should have put it here, not there. Long tube headers, like we stated, going into 3-inch collectors, 3-inch collectors. I'm going to talk 2 1/4 pipes, primary tubes going back. 833 Mopar 4-speed transmission. You can't break it. It's as good as they gum. The undercarriage of this vehicle has all the original sound deadener splatter undercoating that Chrysler put on when it was new. Everything under this vehicle indicates that it's all original. I don't see any place where there's any panels replaced. From what we can tell, the quarter panels are the original, still even has its original part number on it, serial number. Where the pinch welds go onto the rocker panels, all that is nice and fresh and clean, just the way it was in '70 when it was built by Chrysler. Parking brakes still hooked up and functional. Our pipes going into 2 Flowmaster style mufflers, and it's got new U-joints on the drive shaft. There's no leaks, as you can see, on the tail shaft, the speedometer gear, housing, transmission, or the engine. At least not at this point. That doesn't mean a year from now you're not going to find some oil on the floor. It's a muscle car. It's inherent. It's going to be there. It's like owning a Porsche. Subframes in the back. The torque boxes, everything just nice and clean and undisrupted. No dents whatsoever that I can see on the subframes from being jacked up. Someone has added a set of aftermarket traction bars on this vehicle. Totally unnecessary. Chrysler's already compensated that for you with a pinion snubber that you can adjust with the height just by putting a spacer in it. It does have a pinion snubber on it that compensates for the torque twist of the rear differential. The springs are staggered, 6 driver's side, 7 passenger side, to compensate for the torque bias. I'm going to call it the original gas tank. It has a couple of very superficial marks across the front, almost like from stones hitting it or something. It does have a set of air shocks in the back, drum brakes in the back to complement the drums in the front. The floor pans appear from underneath here to be original also. The drop downs and the quarters are definitely original. Everything on the vehicle shows originality from 1970. Check this out. Dana 60 Carrier, 9 3/4 inch ring gear. They only came in posi. That is unbreakable. The strongest rear differential that was ever put in any muscle car during the entire era. That's it, and Chrysler used it. Fantastic piece of equipment underneath. Again, a lot of originality, no leaks at this point. It's a nice car. Take a look at it. It's in Hanksters. We're going to go for a ride. Okay, we are in our 1970 B5 blue with white hood striping on it. RM Roadrunner, 446 back car at this point. Just tried it and the horn does not work. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't. It has a remote adjust mirror on it, which does function as it should. Believe it or not, we don't care about clocks and radios, but the clock is working in this vehicle. I think it's the wrong time, but it's definitely working in this vehicle. Tach working, as you can see, and that's usually an item on a lot of Mopars that doesn't function. Gas gauge showing us a little over 1/4 of a tank. Temperature gauge is not functioning. However, we have a trio of gauges underneath here that we just started this car too, so I'm sure the temperature's dead. Is it just starting to come up? Oil pressure is showing. Well, it's showing down here. It's not working on the dash. The alternator's working on the dash. It's also functioning down here. So let's see. We got turn signal left blinking away just the way it should. We got turn signal right. Very faint, but yeah, there it is. It's blinking. It's blinking as it should. The fan is working with the defroster. Let's see, radio, no chance. Nope, radio's not working. We don't care. Yeah, other than that, oh, wipers. We gotta try wipers here. Okay, wipers functioning as they should. They even park themselves the way they're supposed to. Okay, let's go for a ride, see what this guy performs like. Car, no hands. Goes down the road. Oh, goes down the road straight as an arrow. It's nice if you didn't want it to go. I'd like to try brakes right now, but we can't because there's a guy in a Ford Exploder right behind me that's pretty close. I'm gonna get a little upset. We'll try it down there. The car runs nice, it's nice. 410 Dana in it. Feels like about a 410 anyway. It's definitely not 355. It doesn't feel like it anyway. Definitely a real nice running car. Nice and tight. There's no shakes or shimmies or rattles or anything in it. Steering is nice and precise. I mean, you move this steering wheel just a tiny bit and it warbles the car just the way it should. Again, our turn signals functioning as they should. The only thing really is the horn. We don't have a horn on it. Other than that, I think we're okay. I think everything else functions as it should. This guy in this Exploder is going to run me over, I think. Take it out here and give it a little shot for you here. About 80, shut it off with that, I think. Nice running car. You can hear it runs just like it should, pulls just like a strong 446 pack should. It's got a great sound to it. The mufflers are Flowmasters are not objectionably loud, but they got a nice deep throttle to them, a nice tone to them. Fantastic running car. Nice car. Somebody's going to have a nice toy to play with when they get this one. Again, straight as an arrow. Look at this. Nice running car. Oh, brakes. We forgot to do brakes for you. Brakes, no hands. Stop straight as an arrow. It's a nice toy. By the way, it's running nice and cool too. If you look at the temperature, it's not high. It's running nice and cool. Nice 440.